It's big news. Big news! Check out this leak. IK Multimedia, TONEX pedal. This is huge. Huge for the digital guitar community world. All of us in profiler, capture, digital land. This is big news. I gotta pat myself on the back because about 3 weeks ago, I released this video. It was just my predictions on what I thought we could see in the modeling world for 2023. I predicted that IK Multimedia would kind of change the game by putting out this pedal and really show that they had created a full suite, a full product family that was going to be really compelling for guitar players. One of the reasons I think it's so compelling for guitar players is previous to this pedal, and why I think this is such a big deal, is TONEX is a great product. TONEX brings modeling without, a hardware constraint. You don't need to buy the hardware. You can do it on your computer. It natively works in the DAW. I think that's really smart. But not all of us are producers that just sit in front of a computer at one studio. A lot of us still play live. We still go play on other people's records in their studio. I will go to someone else's studio from time to time, play guitar. Maybe a friend, an indie artist or something is like, hey, will you come play guitar for me at a show? Sure. I have to be able to take tones with them. I go play on Sunday mornings, Friday nights. You have to be able to do that as a guitar player. And I don't think people want to take their laptop. I just don't. I think you run into all sorts of problems. I play with some guys. We run tracks. Nothing has ever, I've never seen the keyboard completely brick. I've never seen the bass completely go out. I've never seen my Kemper or my Helix or my Quad Cortex completely brick. Several times we've had our MacBook crash that are running stems, right? It happens. It just happens. Something weird goes on. There's some Catalina OS Tiger update and it just messes with stuff, right? It happens. And that's why you want to be able to take it with you. My opinion was that TONEX is a bit of a toy, a useful toy, until they had a full product line that people could latch on and go, this is what I'm going to use solely. I think this thing solves that issue. I think it does. Now, I believe this is real. I don't have a reason to believe this isn't real because this product description looks real. And I want to point something out. There are some details in the product description that people are overlooking. Let's look into it. It gives us a real hint on where IK Multimedia is going and why I think there's more hardware units around TONEX coming. Check it out. Here's the description. Okay, there's a very important line about halfway through here. They talk about how great TONEX is. Check this out. TONEX pedal also offers IK's award-winning VIR cabinet and mic simulation, a custom IR loader for you to put in your own impulses. We would expect that. Listen to this. Plus an advanced noise gate, analog modeled EQ and compressor, and stereo reverb derived from our award-winning Amplitude X-Time pedal. Why is it important that they spelled this out? It's very important that they spelled out specific effects. If you had an entire suite of delays, reverbs, everything, if this was an all-in-one pedal, if this was the HX Stomp, IK's HX Stomp, if this was IK's Quad Cortex, you would not spell out specifically those effects. This is a standalone pedal, really designed, I think, to take on a pedal board. It's not meant to be an all-in-one solution, or they would not have spelled out these very specific EQ compressor and stereo reverb. That to me says we're going to be limited on the amount of parameters that we have to control. We're not going to be able to make entire, huge this verb with this delay. Here's the edge preset. Here's this. I think this is a straightforward play the TONEX player kind of thing. Actually just be the amp. This leads me to believe this is probably not the only thing we're going to see from IK, but IK is approaching the market differently than everybody else has. Quad Cortex came out with this unit first. It's their flagship product. And honestly, at this point, everyone's just sort of sitting around waiting for a desktop editor. We're waiting for some more capability. They just had the update. Great. We added a bunch of stuff. And they probably put down what's going to be the foundations of a marketplace and a desktop editor. But HX Stomp, obviously, and Helix, really, that family of products. It starts with the hardware. Of course, they did the editor, and the editor also was native at the same time. There's the native version that runs on your computer. They have an editor. Kemper, but hardware comes first. Kemper, obviously, hardware came first. We didn't even have an editor up top. They added an editor. IK is approaching this from the other side, where they go, we're software first. And so the go-to-market strategy with TONEX was, let's make a software plugin first. Now they're adding hardware. And I noticed the first piece of hardware they're adding is kind of where there's white space in the market. The Dream and the Ruby from UA have been so successful because Kemper does not have just a standalone Kemper player that fits on your pedal board. Kempers are toasters. They are racks. They are stages that honestly are a little bit large to put on a pedal board and still have a reasonable size pedal board. The Kemper stage, which is what I use all the time, and I love it, it is designed to be sort of an all-in-one, do-it-all solution. It has all the flexibility of the Kemper's performance mode. The Quad Cortex, I think, as a flagship unit, really tries to strike a balance. It's small enough to get on a board, but it's big enough that you can do so much with it. I mean, you've got 2 banks, you've got tap tempo, you've got all this stuff. And with the touchscreen, you have everything you need. But everyone at Axifex is a good example. Hardware supported by good software. TONEX, IK Multimedia, is approaching this from the other side, and I think this is very smart. They now are uber strong where other products are weaker. Let me demonstrate. If you are a producer, like Glenn, and I'm just going to say this about Glenn real quick. I'm not going to make a full video about this. I think it's a bad look when you have a sponsored video and then you put down another person's product. I think that's a bad look. I wouldn't do that. Also, the reasons he puts down the Kemper, this thing is also guilty of, but he doesn't put that one down. So I don't really know. I think it's a bad look. Honestly, if I was IK, I wouldn't want my name on that video because I just think you shouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't get paid. If that's your opinion, that's your opinion. But if you don't go, this video is sponsored by IK, and then you show a competitor in a trash can. It's a little bit of a look. Look, we all get why this is great. We all get it, right? But this changes the modeling world, not just one product. So anyway, I'm going to put that away. I'm just going to leave that alone. I watch Glenn's channel. I think that's a misstep. I don't think that's good for anybody, IK, Glenn, anybody. I just think that's in poor taste. Do with that what you will. I think TONEX is really going to change the game with this pedal, because if you're a producer, this is what I was going to say, is where TONEX is now the strongest is where there's holes in the market. If you're a producer that wants a plug-in product so that's native, you can work in your DAW seamlessly and fits with your existing workflow, nothing's going to be better than TONEX and Amplitude probably right now. That's probably going to be your best solution in terms of realism, in terms of reamping. That's going to be the best thing to do. I am sitting here thinking, gosh, so much of everything I do on the Kemper Quad Cortex, all my videos, so easily I can reamp just right in my DAW. And the Quad Cortex and the Kemper make it pretty easy to reamp, but reamping in your DAW is even easier. That's incredible, right? Then, if you're a pedal board only guy, what are your best solutions? Could be the HX Stomp, but to be honest, most people aren't in the thinking that this is the greatest sounding unit out there. The Helix and the Helix family is awesome for a lot of reasons. The price point, the way you have it in multiple sizes, almost no one does that. And these products are great, but I don't hear anyone saying this is the best product because it sounds better than everything else, hands down. So you're kind of like, do you want to do the HX Stomp? Do you want to do the UA pedals? If you want to do a pedal on a pedal board that does your amp sim, what's the very best thing to do? It's probably going to be TONEX now. It's UA or it's TONEX. And that's where these other ones are a little weaker. I know so many people who play Kempers and go, I love my Kemper. Their problem is it's just too big for the pedal board. They want a little Kemper player. I've been wanting that for years. The Quad Cortex, a lot of people will say that. I think the advantage of the Quad Cortex, if you have this, is that you can also you could probably just use this as your delay and reverb and and your amp sim. But you know, maybe you want to play Big Sky. If you have a verb and delay pedal you really love, this size is still a little bit prohibitive to get on a pedal board. It just sort of is. You could maybe get one other large pedal, but if you want a delay and a reverb separate, it starts to be like, is it worth the space it's taking up if I'm using a Quad Cortex for so little? So that's why I think this is really crazy good. This is really crazy for all of us. And I'm going to predict, I want to be very clear with this prediction. I predict that we're going to see an all-in-one pedal board from IK. The price on this TONEX is $500. That is insanely competitive because compared to the UA stuff, you have tons of sounds in here. I don't know how many you're going to be able to hold. You can load up to 300 separate tone models. It says it right there. 300 separate tone models compared to 3 in some of the other ones, in the Iridium and all this stuff. So I kind of think this is going to be the way to go. And we're going to see what competition comes out with. We're going to see. I think that IK is going to come out with they're making these in Italy. And looking at what they're able to offer this pedal for at $599, I think they're going to be targeting the sub $2,000 range, in that $1,500 to $2,000 range on a larger pedal board. And that's going to make them very competitive with a Quad Cortex, with a Helix, with a Kemper Stage, and definitely with the FM9. I think it's going to be really interesting. I am currently working on a bunch of stuff for this space. I am very into this entire platform. Very excited about it. And I'm excited to see how people respond. And I think it's a great time to be into guitars and modeling. Check out, there's going to be Tone Junkie stuff available in about 2 weeks. HW, out.